Today we're going to be doing simplifying algebraic expressions. I'm going to give you a couple definitions you need to know. The first two are term and coefficient. Definition of term is parts of an algebraic expression separated by addition or subtraction signs. So if it asks you to identify how many terms are on this expression, then what we do is we count. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? They're separated by addition or subtraction signs. Right? Pretty simple. Everybody understand that? That is a term. Okay? And then coefficient. You need to know the definition of coefficient, which is the numerical part of a term that contains a variable. It has to contain a variable. And the coefficient is the number part. So of this term, it contains a variable. So what's the coefficient of 3x? What's the number part of 3x? 3. So if asked for what are the coefficients, it would be 3. This contains a variable. So what's the coefficient? What's the number part? No, that's a variable. Okay? I actually just told someone this. Okay? If there's not a variable, if there's not a number in front, it's an understood 1. Okay? It's an understood 1. So what would the coefficient be of x? 1. Alright? So if there's not a number in front of x, assume it's 1. Right? It will be 1. It's always 1 because 1 times x is x. So instead of writing 1x, right, they just write x. They will never write 1x. Alright, write this down. These two definitions of like terms and constant. Definition of like term, it's a terms that contain the same variable. So what we look is we see what has the exact same variable. Okay? Has to be exactly the same. It can't have an exponent. Okay? One has an exponent, one doesn't. It can't be like that. It has to be exactly the same. So my like terms up here are 5y and 2y. And what I do is I usually underline them or give them a sign, a symbol, to represent like terms. For this one, I would just do this. They have the exact same variable. So they are like terms. I identify them by just underlining them. Today your homework is going to say identify like terms. All you have to do is do underline for the like terms. Okay? And then you need to know the definition of constant. Constant is a term without a variable. Okay? A constant is just a number. It's not going to change because it's not being times by anything. So it stays constant. The constant here would be 3. Okay? Because it does not have a variable. Something else you need to know, constants are like terms with each other. So if I had another constant up here, okay, that would be a like term as well. Okay? Alright, write this down. This is what your homework's going to look like today. Your homework today is going to say identify the terms. Okay? All I want you to do is just write down the expression. That is good enough for me. Then it's going to say identify the like terms. So I want you to underline or use a symbol to identify the different like terms. Don't use the same symbol for different like terms. Okay? We have 3x and 4x. They are like terms. Do I have any other like terms? No. Now if I had something like this, 5y right here, okay? Then is that a like term with 4y? Yes. So I would use a different symbol. My first one is 1 underline. My second one is I do 2 underlines. My third one would be like a box, okay, or a circle, okay. It doesn't matter, okay, as long as you identify that those are like terms with each other, okay. Don't use the same symbol for each one. Don't give me an underline here and an underline there. That doesn't make any sense. Because y is not a like term with 3x. Give me a different one. Okay, everybody understand? Okay. Then it says identify coefficients. So I write COE right here. Okay, or you can write coefficients. I don't care. And identify the coefficients. What are the coefficients of this? Someone raise your hand. Kyle? 3, 4, 4, and 2. Because they each have a variable or variables behind them. Okay, the number part is the coefficient. Are there any constants? No. There's not a number by itself. Alright, 6x minus 2y plus x minus 5. So I identified my terms by writing it down. Okay, how many terms are up here? How many terms? 4, thank you. Okay, you don't have to do that. But just writing it down is good enough for me. Identify like terms. So I underline, okay, or put a symbol around the like terms. In this case, it's just 6x and x. Coefficients. What are the coefficients?
6, 2, 5.
6. I go with -2. Okay. I treat this term like it's -2. Okay. And you'll see why later. Okay. Yes. Okay. I want -2 because I can put a plus sign right here and say that's -2. Later on, we're going to move these around. Right. And so I want you to know that it's a -2. And then what else? 6, -2, and what else? 1, okay, because of x. Is -5 a coefficient? Yeah. No. Coefficients have a variable behind them. Does -5 have a variable behind it? No. -5 is a constant. It is not a coefficient. A constant is not a coefficient. Any questions? Write this down. We have simplify. The next set of problems are going to simplify, which means you do every possible operation. Okay, which in this case, most of the time, it's just going to be adding or subtracting like terms. So I look here, identify my like terms, 4x and 2x. So then I write them down side by side. Okay, so I don't get confused. So I reorder it like this. And then I add like terms here. Adding like terms means I don't change the variable. All I do is add the numbers in front. And then the constant stays the same because there's no other constants. So I have 6x plus 6 is my answer. There's nothing else I can do to it. So I'm left with that. Any questions? Alright, so let's simplify this. I look for my like terms. Okay, my constants are like terms as well. So then I reorder it with like terms side by side. I have 5n minus n. So what is that?
Oh wait, no.
Okay, I treat n like it has a 1 in front. What's 5 minus 1? 4. Does my variable change? No. Did it change when I was adding? So do I change it when I'm subtracting? No, the variable does not change. All you do is add or subtract the numbers in front. Then we add 2 with -6. -4. There's my answer. Write this down. Alright, before I can identify like terms and move things around, I have to distribute. So I distribute the 3 out. We have 6y, -3x. Okay, I keep the sign that's in there and I do -3 times 2y. So I have 6y minus 3x minus -3 times 2 is -6y. Okay, my variable in the back doesn't change. I just do the numbers in front. I multiply them. -3 times 2, which is -6. I have a negative side by side, so I make those positive. I have 6y minus 3x plus 6y. I find my like terms now, 6y and 6y. Okay, so I rearrange them where I have 6y plus 6y minus 3x. And then I add them. 6 plus 6 is 12. And I can't do anything to the -3x. And there's my answer. Write this down. Alright, so we have 2m plus 3 minus 7m minus 4. I identify my like terms. Okay. So then I rewrite it with like terms side by side. 2m minus 7m plus 3 minus 4. And then I add or subtract like terms. 2m minus 7m.
Negative 5.
Negative 5m. Okay, 2 minus 7 is negative 5. The variable does not change. Now I do 3 minus 4, which is negative 1. There's my answer. It says you have some money in a savings account. Your sister has 25 more than you have. Write an expression in simplest form that represents the total amount in both accounts. First thing you need to do is figure out how much is in your account. Does it say? It says some money. Okay? That I represent with a variable. It's an unknown amount, right? It says my sister has 25 more than me. So if I had $10, how much would she have? 35. If I had $25, how much would she have? 50. So what are you doing? You're adding 25 to me, to X. So her account is X plus 25. Now we're supposed to represent an expression that has both of these, the total amount. So my account plus her account. X plus 25. Okay, and I'm supposed to write it in the simplest form. So what can I do?
X plus 10.
I add like terms. What is X plus X? 2X. I add the numbers in front. So this would represent both accounts. Okay, and I can check. Let's say I have $10. We said that it would be a total of how much in her account? If I had 10, it'd be 35 in hers. So total amount would be what? 10 plus 35 is?
45.
So let's check. What's 2 times 10? 25 plus 25 is, or 20 plus 25 is? 45. If I had 25, how much would she have? What total is that? 75. So what is 2 times 25? What's 50 plus 25?
75.
So is 2x plus 25 the right expression? Yes. Okay. We can check using numbers and we see that it comes true. So that's my answer. Here is your homework.